As you can tell behind me, I have a new bookshelf. So I've been working with this one for about 2 years now, and it is very full. And I have my TBR cart that is overflowing. I have a little side table thing over here that has books in it that's overflowing. I have stacks over there. I have a nonfiction in my partner's shelf. Like, I just have books everywhere, and it's time for a new shelf. So luckily, I have the most wonderful partner ever, and she got me this new bookshelf, and it has been built since Saturday. It's now Monday, and I've been waiting to fill it with books to make this video for you guys. So I can't wait another second longer. Let's just go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we're working with here, and then we'll get to putting this new bookshelf together. It's not going to be anything crazy because I just organize by, I just alphabetize my books. I don't do genre shelves or anything like that, so nothing special, but I still am very excited to get all the books on there. So let me show you guys what we have right now. So down there on that bottom shelf is the books that I have already read that aren't on my favorite shelf, that aren't library books, obviously, and that I haven't given away. So I like these enough to keep them, but they're not my favorites. It's just one little shelf. I know it doesn't look like much, but I do read a lot from the library, and I do like to pare down my books a lot. So if I don't really love them, I get rid of them. So that's why it's that small. These are my favorite books that I own. If you ever want any recommendation from me, this is where it comes from. Because I love all these books with my whole heart, and they get their own special shelf in between my strawberry bookends. I also have these special edition copies of Ninth House and Hellbent over there. I don't really know how else to display them, so they're just up there. I have more books over here. These are just obviously ACOTAR, and then all of my very short books. All these books are like under 200 pages that I keep there. There's a lot going on this table. I apologize, but I have my library books here and then one of my current reads. And then I have a stack of like autumn reads back there because I want it to be fall already, so I already have a book stack going. So then here is my TBR cart, very stuffed, very much overflowing, so I'm excited to pare that down with my new bookshelf also. And then my partner's bookshelf is over here, so those top 4 cubbies are all her books, and then the bottom 2 are my nonfiction books, which I'll be moving to my shelf. And then we have a couple of display books up here, but those are my books. I also do have a stack of different editions of The Secret History upstairs, which is why it's not on my favorite shelf, because it has its own shelf upstairs. So other than that, that's all my books, I think. Lord, I hope so. But I'm gonna get started on my new shelf now. I'm so excited, and I'm gonna take you guys with me, obviously. We're gonna move what I currently have and then start putting some from all my other shelves everywhere. I think what I'm going to start with, because it's the easiest, is just moving my nonfiction over from my partner shelf down to the bottom shelf of my new bookshelf. That's where it's going to live because I have my little reading chair that covers that shelf kind of. So I'm just going to put my nonfiction there, and then we'll get to doing all the other books. I'm going to start by moving this chair. I took the mic off, so sorry if this is bad audio, but I'm just going to move this chair so we can get down to business. I'm going to lower you guys so we can do the nonfiction shelf. These 2 are books that I'm borrowing from a friend, so they're probably going to go on my TBR cart, so I'm not going to put them on that shelf. But I just remembered that I got a ton of books from Goodwill. so I need to go get those. Give me one moment. Let me just haul these Goodwill books for you guys really quickly. I'm gonna have to clean them and take the stickers off before I can put them on my shelf. I totally forgot about them, but let me just show you guys what I got because I'm so excited. I literally remembered this because I saw my John Krakauer books and I was like, wait, didn't I get the other book? And I was like, oh my god, I have 2 bags worth of books. So I got Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I got John Krakauer's Under the Banner of Heaven. I have 2 other books by him. Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I don't love Sally Rooney and I don't have either of her other books that are out right now, but I do want to read this one and it was there and I got a good price on it. So I got Writers and Lovers by Lily King. Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence, which is a classic. Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking. I've already read this book, but I want to reference this for my own book that I want to write about my mom and the grief of her death and everything that comes with that. And I have this on my Kindle, but it was there, and I love a good physical copy to be able to highlight and tab. It's just not the same on the Kindle, but the Kindle version is nice to have if I'm ever out and about and I have a thought about it and about my own writing and I want to reference it and I don't have a book with me. It's right there on my Kindle, so both are good. And more books is more books. I just realized my partner got some books too, so these aren't all mine. Also, please ignore my bangs. They are not doing what I want them to do, so I'm trying to keep them to the side and they look crazy, I know, just ignore it. I got This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I love The Great Gatsby and I've never read anything else by him and I want to really badly, so I saw this in the classic section and I decided to pick it up. My partner got What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli, I think, and Adam Silvera, who wrote They Both Die at the End. And I also have been wanting to read this one, so great that she got it, so we can both read it. I got This Other Eden by Paul Harding. I got this book, which I've never heard anything about it. The cover is just beautiful, so I needed it. It is called Max Lakeman and the Beautiful Stranger by John Cohen. I haven't heard anything about this, so if you have or if you've read it, let me know. And then finally, my partner got Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosmond. And I also want to read this one, so another good one that we can both read together. So those are all the books I got from Goodwill. I'm going to clean them really quick and take the stickers off, and then we'll continue on the bookshelf. For some reason, the audio did not take on this clip. I think my mic was dying and I just didn't realize, and so it didn't work. I'm really not sure what happened, but I just wanted to go through and show you guys all my books on my shelves now that it's complete and looks so pretty. Like I said before, I just alphabetized, so nothing special, but we'll start going through each of my books from left to right. So we have Watership Down by Richard Adams, Taylor Adams' No Exit, The White Tiger, and I don't know how to pronounce that person's name, so sorry. I have Bless Me Ultima by Rudolfo Anaya. I have Speak by Lori Haas Anderson, Diary of an Oxygen Thief by Anonymous. I have Ugly Ways, and then The Push by Ashley Audrain. Then I have Emma by Jane Austen, cute little edition. I have A Man Called Ove or Ove by Frederick Bachman, as well as My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. Then I have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I have The Mothers and the Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I have As We Are. I cannot see the title on this one, I'm so sorry. Then I have Lovelight Farms, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and then 2 copies of Fahrenheit 451 because I couldn't pick one. I like both of them, so I kept both. Then I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. And that is my first shelf. Moving on to shelf number 2, I have Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. Then I have Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. The Body in Question by Jill Cement. Little Bee by Chris Cleave. And then I have this really cool book that I showed you guys earlier, and it has a long title, so I'm not going to read it. Also, sorry if you can hear my computer whirring. I then have House of Leaves by Mark Z. I can't read that. Then I have No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai, Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard. Love that cover. Then I have 2 books by Anthony Doerr, All the Light We Cannot See in Cloud Cuckoo Land. Then I have Exciting Times, and I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. Then I have Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I have The Circle by Dave Eggers. Middlemarch by Eliot. And then 2 copies of Invisible Man by Ellison. I have Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. F. Scott Fitzgerald's This Side of Paradise. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, and Lucy Foley's The Guest List. And that is my second shelf. Moving on to my third shelf, I have Crossroads by Franzen. I don't know the first name. A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. Memoirs of a Geisha. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I have Firefly Lane and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, This Other Eden, The Journey to the East by Herman Hesse, Catch-22 and Closing Time by Joseph Heller. I have A Movable Feast and For Whom the Bell Tolls by Hemingway. I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, The Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And then I have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, Never Let Me Go and The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, Jenny Jackson's Pineapple Street. And then I have 2 of the Truly Devious books. I don't know which one The Hand on the Wall is, but they were just the ones I found at Goodwill, so I got them, and I will continue collecting the series secondhand. But that's what I have for now.
And then I have the 100-year-old man who climbed out the window and disappeared. And I have the stationery shop of Tehran. And that is my third shelf. Moving on to my fourth shelf over here, starts with Writers and Lovers by Lily King, 11/22/63 by Stephen King, Milan Kundera's Immortality. I have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson, Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado, Emily St. John Mandel's Station 11, Life of Pi by Jan Martel, this beautiful copy of Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, as well as 100 Years of Solitude. And then I have The Lost Causes of Bleak Creek by Rhett and Link, which is funny. And I have Paradise Lost by Milton, Ghosts Written by David Mitchell, and then I have my Murakami and Morrison stack. I just wanted to have a cute little stack so it wasn't all too uniform, but I have Jazz by Toni Morrison, A Mercy, Beloved, Song of Solomon. Those are all my Morrisons. And then by Murakami, I have After the Quake, The Elephant Vanishes, The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, and 1Q84. And that is my fourth shelf. On shelf number 5, I have Lolita by Nabokov, Everything I Never Told Him, and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And then I have The Things They Carried by O'Brien, Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, There by Tommy Orange, Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club, The Swimmers by Julie Otsuka. Then I have my little palette collection. So I have Damned, Doom, Fight Club, Lullaby, and I don't remember the name of the other one. What is it called? Oh, it's called Rant. And then I have Tom Link by Ann Patchett, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, All Quiet on the Western Front. I have Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Marie Rilke, Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, The God of Small Things. And then I have Vinyl Girls by Riley Sager, Franny and Zooey by J.D. Salinger, one of the Harry Potter books, the third year. I don't remember what it's called, and I can't read it. And then I have A Suitable Boy and Mouse, the first one. I have this little YA book that I want to give to my sister, but I want to read it before I give it to her. And then I have Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow. And that is shelf number 5. So on shelf number 6, I did turn out War and Peace because, again, I didn't want them all to look super uniform, and you'll see why in a second. But I have Lucy by the Sea by Elizabeth Strout, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina and War and Peace, Kurt Vonnegut's The Sirens of Titan, as well as Hocus Pocus, In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I have The Age of Innocence, The Martian by Andy Weir, Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, Mrs. Dalloway and Night and Day by Virginia Woolf. I have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I have Iron Widow. I have Putney by Sofka. I cannot pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. It's just Putney. And then I have The Book Thief. So that is shelf number 6. And this is just an overview of all my fiction books that are not on my TBR cart. These are just ones I'm not as interested in getting to as I am the ones on my TBR cart. So moving on to these two shelves, these are my non-fictions, and I've turned some of these out because they didn't quite fill the two shelves and I didn't want it to look empty. So that's why in my fiction books I had a couple of like stacks and turned out ones too, because it looked kind of weird being all stuffed and then having the turned out ones on the bottom. But these are my non-fiction books. So starting on the left shelf, I have Tuesdays with Morrie, Sweet Caroline, which is about the Kennedys, I believe, or just Jackie Kennedy. Then I have The Diana Chronicles, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, Talking to My Angels by Melissa Etheridge, Letters to Jackie. Those are letters that people wrote her when JFK was assassinated. I have Z, which is the book about Zelda Fitzgerald. I have Note to Self by Connor Franta, Sophie's World, How to Be Anti-Racist, and Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. Moving on to the second nonfiction shelf, I have Stephen King's On Writing, and then I have Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Poems, which is a poem collection of all of her poems. And then I have my John Krakauer section. I have Into Thin Air, Into the Wild, and Under the Banner of Heaven by him. Into the Wild is one of my favorite movies, so I want to read all his books. I have I'm Glad My Mom Died, as well as Grief is Love. Then I have Page Boy by Elliot Page, To Selena with Love by Chris Perez, her husband. I have a book on writing. I have Beautiful Boy by David Sheff, Wild by Cheryl Strayed, The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, Educated by Tara Westover, and Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. And those are my nonfiction shelves. I think they came out pretty good. So the lighting is not great down here because it's covered by my reading chair, but these two shelves are books that I have read that aren't on my favorite shelf that I own. So I do read a lot from the library, and I do pare down books a lot if I didn't like them. So these are just the ones that I own that are not on my favorite shelf. I kept these down here because there's a lot of room, and as I read more and I don't get rid of them, I can start stacking them, so that's why I put them on the bottom. And that's my favorite shelf up there that I showed you guys earlier, so that's where some of my books live that I've already read. So let's just go ahead and get into all of my read books. So I have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, Leigh Bardugo's The Familiar, as well as Six of Crows by her. And then I have Lie With Me by Philip Besson, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Rave, which is a graphic novel, The Year of Magical Thinking, which I showed you guys earlier, The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, and Paper Towns by John Green, This Is How You Lose a Time War, Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter, Elena Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend, The Stranger, The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn, Lord of the Flies, and Less. And then I have a couple books in the back that I'm going to be giving to my sister. So on this side, I can't really get back there, so I'm just going to try my best, but I have Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms, Beach Read by Emily Henry, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Outsiders, Parasite, Girl Interrupted, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Stephen King's The Shining, Shit Cassandra Saw, which is a short story collection, If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Haruki Murakami's Kafka on the Shore, Open Water by Kayla Zuma Nelson, Kylie Reid's Such a Fun Age, the first Harry Potter book, I believe, Holes, Catcher in the Rye, Nick, and Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. So these are all my shelves, all completed. I'm so happy, they look so pretty. And moving on to my TBR card, I did want to go through this and show it to you guys as well. So the top is my summer TBR. That's all the books I want to complete before autumn. So I have The Impossible Fortress, The Secret Life of Bees, A Hammock Beneath the Mangoes, Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe, Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, Fleischman is in Trouble, The Fine Print, The Beginning of Everything, The Mountain in the Sea, Toad, Notes on an Execution, Before We Were Innocent, Billy Summers, and Oh Beautiful. And then in the back I also have On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel, The Girls by Emma Cline. Let me move my headphones real quick. I have Really Good Actually by Monica Heisey. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then I have White Oleander by Janet Fitch. And then I have M. Somerset Maugham's The Razor's Edge. So that's just my summer TBR. And yeah, I want to get to all this before the end of September. On the second shelf of my TBR cart, I'm just continuing with books that I want to read throughout the year. So I have Shuggie Bain, The Great Believers, The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, 10 minutes, 38 seconds in This Strange World by Elif Shafak, as well as The Island of Trees. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her last name. I have Mother Thing, Middlesex, Pachinko, Mean Baby, No One Crosses the Wolf, Severance, Animal, and A Little Life. Then moving on to the third shelf, it's just more of my TBR. I have The Little Friend, The Goldfinch, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, East of Eden, The Rabbit Hutch, Homegoing, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, Blindness by Jose Saramago. I have The Virgin Suicides, White Teeth, The Girl with All the Gifts, and Interview with a Vampire, which I'm currently reading. And this is my beautiful TBR cart, as well as another shot of my shelves because I am just obsessed with them. And I also have some books on the top. So up top, I have an old copy of Little Women, a copy of Gideon that I got secondhand, and then I have 2 of Chris Colfer's children's books. And yeah, that's my shelves.